Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. Well, this is the second time I need to do this because earlier I had some issues with the audio, which I realized pretty late while I was kind of uploading. But then it is all good now. It's a game. This is something I want to start it for quite some time. The FPL 2023-24 review. I've been playing FPL for quite some time myself. I started way back 2014-15. So it's almost like it's the 10th year, it's a decade of playing it. The highest is basically in finishing in the 100, finishing just outside of 100K. That's my best. And I've been thinking about kind of doing such kind of a series for the some kind of a series on FPL for quite some time, but here we go. This is happening now, so it's better. It's never say never. And happy to actually start this new journey. So we're talking about the game 1 week review of the FPL as 2023-24 season. I'll walk you through my team, my selection, my ideas, why and how I have selected, and the reasons I've gone with them. It's pretty interesting, and I will keep kind of continuing such videos with going into Game Week 2, possibly do some live streams regarding the Game Week 2 team selections, news, and so on and so forth for the FPL season. But this was the game 1 week review of the FPL season, but then this almost becomes a review of the game week as well with the performances. So as you can see, I'm currently at 100, just outside 128K. Game week points is 87. It's a very good it's a really good in my opinion, a very good start of the season. But talking about that, let's get straight into the team that I had and how I have done on that. So here is the current team that I have had with 87 points. It is pretty decent. Like I went, it's almost template. It's not completely template, but then I had a very strong I wanted to have a very strong forward line. Of course, Haaland was the first one that went in. I went with a couple of options. I had Haaland and Haaland, Kane, and Alvarez. At one point, when Kane left, I had Haaland, Alvarez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Then I had thought about removing Alvarez, and I went to Watkins. So Haaland, Watkins, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And then eventually I came back and I said, no, let's kind of attack the first game week with City playing Burnley, and it paid well. It paid in good stride for Haaland scoring 26. Got Alvarez as well, his 5 points. That was good. I thought he could have done better, but then he is playing in number 8, like he was playing behind Haaland, not in number 9, which is always an issue for him because he doesn't get that much of a ball and he's not in the box always. He's almost trying to create goals rather than score them. And Joao Pedro was like the guy that everybody was talking about after Brighton's game preseason and so on. And I was interested to kind of get into that, dip into that, because Evan Ferguson was another one that they were touting really well. So Joao Pedro, that was kind of the thinking of the front line. Total 38 points from the front line, not that bad. I'm really happy. In the midfield, that was kind of interesting because I had and also like the midfield was like not having Salah. I didn't want to go Kevin De Bruyne, so the idea was like, let's kind of go for short players, like who will play. So after watching the preseason for Manchester United and seeing what how Bruno was playing and Garnacho was performing, I felt that it would be a good week to double up on United, because they were playing Wolves as well, who have had who've just sacked their manager, and there were changes, and they have a squad which is still kind of adapting to the new plays, but then that didn't actually really materialize as much as I'd expected. United were lucky to actually have a goal from Varane, who is the top scorer or the 14 points scored by him. So he's a top scorer for the game week 1, which is a surprise. Of course, Garnacho could have played better, or like it's interesting to see how this will kind of pan out, because in my opinion, it was I was expecting more. Bruno Fernandes, he's the club captain. He will play all games, in my opinion. So I think this is pretty much set, and he's a good bet to kind of play because he does go forward. He runs a lot. He gives you the assist chances. He gives you assists. Possibly he gives you penalties. He's on penalties, and he gives you goals as well sometimes. So it's kind of you can't lose with Bruno. There's a lot to win with him. So that's why I think it's better to stick with that. Also, I feel that with Arsenal, there was a kind of a dilemma because I first started to Arsenal, then I went to United. I had first thought of Martinelli and Saka as the two options. That could have possibly panned out better, but then Garnacho felt more as a differential, and that was kind of the idea there. So I went with Saka as the vice captain, and that played out really well with his performance, the way he played. Mitoma was, again, like, Mitoma is a very direct player, so it was like it was a no-brainer for me. For Brighton, like playing 3 Brighton, was I think De Zerbi's side is pretty exciting. He starts really well, or he's pretty attacking. So either they will kind of score a lot of goals or they won't. But then thankfully here they eventually did beating, and they were playing Luton as well. So beating Luton 4-1. Good assist for Mitoma. It was strange that the way he got his yellow card. So I was not happy with the way that he got his yellow card, but then that annoys me. So in total, 21 points in the midfield. I could have been better. I felt Bruno or Garnacho could have given me more points along with Mitoma. He could have scored, but then it was good that he combined with Joao Pedro to kind of score the header for the goal as well for Joao Pedro, but then the assist from Mitoma. So that was good to kind of get some points in. Estupiñán, Saliba, and Chilwell, the defensive line was like I wanted to have Estupiñán. He plays pretty much like very forward. De Zerbi gives him that space, and he really kind of excels in that. I had Gabriel and Timber as well at one point in my defense. That I felt was like the first game week for a new player. That didn't feel well. I felt that Saliba was the solid guy for the Arsenal defense, and they kind of faltered only after he got injured in the Premier League last season. So that was kind of the idea. Chilwell, in my opinion, was Chilwell between Reece James. There were 2 options that I was going, but I wanted to have some Chelsea backup there because Mauricio Pochettino, the first game in, he will attack. They can concede goals. They've been conceding goals in the game in the preseason as well, but then they score as well. So that was kind of the idea. And Chilwell and Reece James are playing much more up forward. Chilwell on the left has more running space than on the right, with Sterling up top for Reece, and he's the captain as well, so he's kind of more cautious, but then Chilwell can play more freely. He's on set pieces. The both are on set pieces and corners as well, so there's potential of assists and goals as well, because Chilwell goes really, really forward, and you could see him in the game really up on the box. There was a concern that I also felt like having Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I feel because there is no central defensive midfielder for now for Liverpool, and they're kind of really tight. He's still playing that defensive role. He's not going in the mid to kind of control the ball better, or kind of where he found his new passion last season. So that was very interesting. In the goal, it was pretty clear for me, Onana, of the day one, that he signed for Manchester United. I think I'm going to stick with him through the season. It's going to be an interesting thing to see like how he performs. Of course, it all depends on the defense in front of him, but I trust in Varane, and also the fact that I trust with Martinez. We have Dalot, Luke Shaw. So there is a solid backline, but then United need Onana to kind of command them better, and his distribution is really good. On the bench, Areola from West Ham felt like a good number 2, but he plays number 1 for West Ham, so it's 90 minutes confirmed. Diaby was the new guy for Aston Villa. I felt that he has been touted as a really, really impressive player in the mid who can go forward and score, and he showed that in his debut. Kabore was the cheap defensive option, along with Baldock, who kind of had impressed us in, if you remember the Sheffield United season in 2019-2020, he scored 242 or 130 points in that season. So looking for that up top, that some level of experience there, that him coming back. So that's how it's kind of lined up. I'm pretty happy. It looks pretty templatey. I think the midfield is pretty weak right now, but I think it still is good enough. So that's how it's ended. I have with that the team overall rank right now 128, around 128k, game week points 87. The highest game, the points were 127, as you saw. It was a bench boost as well. You know, on my bench I currently had 13 points, so 100 points on the game week 1. If I talk the whole game, it's not a bad start, but well, it's just started. 88 million people are playing this game now. It's really kind of become a global event to play for 38 game weeks now. I'll try to kind of do another maybe a preview of the FPL game week 2, kind of talking about my strategy and thinking about like what do I want to do about my team, how I want to go about it. Maybe a live as well. I might do my first live video on this YouTube channel. Do join us, and you know, it'll be nice to have a connect, like a really we can talk about a different options on the table. How are you thinking about your team? And I can answer or give you some tips on how I'm thinking about what I saw from the game week as well. Do like this video, do share, and do subscribe to the channel, and I catch you in the next one.